We are coming up on the end of the third week of social distancing, the third week of working from home and working my ass off to keep the center afloat until this whole thing is over, whenever that is. Sylvain is up and down. After an initial period of near elation after losing his job, he is often at loose ends. Yesterday afternoon, after lunch, I took Tula to Mountaintop for a walk. I was the only person there, and we walked the path to the far end of the field. The quiet was profound. It wrapped around me, blanketed me. I returned home to work and read the latest executive order from the governor. All New Jersey parks to be closed to the public as of 8 p.m. My heart sank. The board president put contingency planning on the agenda for next week without mentioning it to me. Back to the 4:30 a.m. wake-up. How will this have touched us personally when it's all over? I woke up sad and stayed that way until afternoon. The fact of the holiday seems to compound everything else. The enormous work strain, the worry about the crisis and family, the very, very lowest point for this country, and finally, a holiday in confinement. Mostly I was missing Dad. I think I associate Easter with him even more than other holidays. Today is my 59th birthday. That does not seem possible. How did I get to be that old? A surreal age in a surreal time. Why is the dinner table where it all comes out? I think about the tension of the dinner table a lot. I think about the place settings and where everyone sits. At some point after writing yesterday, I got back in bed and ended up sobbing. Just overwhelming sadness. I have been under an enormous amount of pressure at work, and I don't see how it will let up. It doesn't end. There is no separation between work schedule and non-work schedule, something that I've protected for so long in order to stay balanced, to not burn out. Often she comes in at 10 p.m. when I'm getting ready for bed, ramping things up, energy, anxiety, volume. Yesterday was incredibly frightening. And of course, she threw in the threats to kill herself. It's a lot to bear. I'm feeling down. I know I am drinking more than usual. For 2 hours she was crying, first in physical pain from her period, then in psychological, emotional, existential pain from life. I'm not sure if she is drinking more now than when she first came home, or is hiding it less. Another long week is finally over. Another week of reinventing programming, this time for summer, which is a huge question mark. When will I see Mom again? Will I ever see her again? That is a valid question. Is this even going to end? I'm always glad when Mother's Day is over. The flood of social media posts send the message that I'm not good enough to receive special treatment, or my kids are not good enough to offer it. This week, both kids will be done with school. Then there will be 3 people in the house with nothing to do. I truly need time off. I would love for it to be time away also. Everyone is home all of the time with nothing to do. Happy birthday to Dad. Today is his 85th birthday, which he was not meant to see. I have so many thoughts in my head this week, so many questions still unanswered that I let go of, yet they still come up. The what ifs, whys, wishes, they're not productive. I feel like my empathy capacity is at an all-time low. Now it's not just the virus, the quarantine for 10 weeks, the uncertainty about when it will end and what fall will look like. The cop on black violence adds another layer of intensity, of anger, of sorrow, and helplessness. Add to the list the sick, fascist, racist, liar in chief, and you have a horror show of a snapshot of life as we know it. This AM, we are social distance walking with Martha and Larry. I'm a little nervous about it. Yesterday I had a COVID test. It wasn't that bad, which makes me wonder if I pushed the swab far enough back into my nose. I have not been fun to live with, I know, and I am sorry. I am stressed beyond belief and need to find a way to manage it. There is a bittersweetness to being here because everything feels so tenuous. Things could change and restrictions tighten, and who knows when I could return. It was so good to get away, and especially to see Mom. It was good for both of us, and I'm so glad I did it after so much uncertainty. Today and tomorrow I install The Great Beyond at M Galleries. I'm excited and a little anxious that it won't live up to my expectations once it is manifested. It was the steamiest of New Jersey July days with an intense monsoon-like storm just before the opening, but people came out, a mix of personal friends, neighbors, art friends, and work colleagues. They waited their turns outside and entered the gallery 2 at a time. It was good to be alone together. We had the last of the California edibles and had a few good laughs and even made love, literally for the first time since March. We are so screwed as a country, and if he somehow gets reelected, we are beyond doomed. I worry that I am somewhat responsible for my kids' trouble with adulting. Mom's surgery was yesterday morning, and apparently everything went well. Honestly, the whole thing was somewhat triggering and reminiscent of last year with Dad. And it is over. I will be bringing Mom home this morning. Yesterday was hell. I was completely overwhelmed and stressed. The staff meeting wasn't great, and my energy came through clearly on Zoom, I'm sure. I am more and more irritated with Sylvain. He does little without prompting. I recognize when I'm stressed, I find fault in him more than usual. And my complaints are valid. In passing, she referred to herself as trans, something she hasn't done before. I did my best to listen and asked a few questions. I am relieved that the door is open to that conversation, especially with her leaving tomorrow. She asked how I would feel if she started T or had top surgery. Would I support that? I said I would support whatever she felt she had to do. Of course, this was the one thing I hoped we wouldn't have to deal with. So it makes sense that it's what's next. It would be too boring to list all the things I've tried to sleep through the night. Tomorrow we are going to the Met. I can't wait. In fact, I'm ridiculously excited. Massive prep for reopening on Monday. Soap and sanitizer dispensers everywhere, signage everywhere, thermometer station, and so on. I honestly don't know how men with stay-at-home wives do it. I would resent it. It has been exhausting being back at work compared to working from home, and we are still closed. I am sick of all the things I have been sick about for so many years. I apologized. He apologized. I want to loosen up, to release my tightly wound tension, to let it all go. Up since 3 a.m. It's better than 2 a.m., I suppose. Yesterday, she asked me if I ever felt like I just didn't want to have any more responsibility. I said that I definitely did. In fact, that's a common thread going back through the years. The fantasy of just quitting it all, work and family, and taking off, running away. I myself am not doing well at all. Everything feels like it's closing in on me. I've been working on the budget and don't really see a way out. It feels like the past several years have finally caught up with me, compounded by this year's stresses at work and at home. Kayaking has become my best escape. There always comes a point where I lose myself, usually looking at reflections in the water, patterns, or what is below the surface.